It's huge!
Boy, oh boy, am I stoked to have gotten my hands on this number. As the saying goes, with great bottle comes great responsibility. And with that mantra in mind, my fellow tankscapers, I promise not to let you guys down with this one. I have a vision of a waterfall cascading over a lush cliffside and trickling down into the tropical waters below. The first daunting obstacle standing in between my vision and reality is the issue of access. I'll need to cut or drill into this bottle a big enough hole to get both my hardscaping materials in and my own arm in order to manipulate them. After some thought, I took action by placing some masking tape down to form a window and tracing a finer line over it with a Sharpie. The tape will act as a glass protector, helping to prevent chips, while the Sharpie provides a finite map out for me to follow while cutting the glass. Mr. Tankscaper, I love your ambition, but how do you suppose you're gonna just cut a window into that jar? The answer? I don't know. But what I do know is nothing is gonna happen from me just sitting here and staring at it. So I grabbed my angle grinder and equipped it with a diamond-plated wheel. I also brought this squirt bottle, as adding water to the glass's surface will not only provide lubrication, but will act as a coolant to help prevent unwanted cracks.
I can't believe this worked. Oh my god, guys, the video is happening.
With a wonderful window now cut in, let's clean both sides of the glass and begin the build.
Yeah. We're a lot cleaner now. Alright.
To build up the cliffside, I took this cardboard and crudely traced out a template of a mountainside using this Sharpie. Cutting the cardboard to shape, I added it to the jar and used spray foam to bulk up the scape and add a rocky texture. I'm not sure how much it will matter, but I made sure to spray only in vertical lines to keep the structure looking uniform. Once the foam was hardened but not fully cured, I pressed in a few pieces of lava rock to begin the aesthetic. Then, once it fully cured, I spread black silicone over all surfaces of the cliffside and sprinkled on a mixture of sand and dirt, visually turning this hunk of foam into earth. If I could do this all over, I would have done this step prior to adding the chunks of lava rock, as it was hard to spread the silicone around the edges of them. However, I actually don't mind seeing some lighter accents in the cliffside, and I can always cover up any rough patches with plants moving forward. Before we take up all of the space with the hardscape, let's clean up the loose sediment with a vacuum and set up the pump for our water feature to be installed. I picked up this basic aquarium pump from Petco, along with this 1/4-inch vinyl tubing from Ace Hardware. Almost a perfect fit, but it's a little loose. So I dabbed up the tubing with some silicone and inserted it into the push fitting, making sure to rotate it, ensuring that the silicone contacts all sides. With a secure pump to hose connection, I'm gonna try to slide this pump in behind our cliff.
Oh no. I'll get it back here. Now we're in there.
With the back end out of view, I can run the hose up the blind side of our cliff and poke it through a hole at the top made with a chopstick.
No! My chopstick! Well, he died doing what he loved. What can I say? Stuff is hosing. Oh, baby. You never let me down, chopstick. never let me down.
It's almost time to get scaping, guys. But first, let's just fill it up with water and test out the function of the pump. One thing I didn't account for, however, was that this entire thing was made of foam, and once you add water, it's gonna float. No worries. To solve this just for a test run, just use Monkey Cup. I'll have to find a big rock or something to take its place, but for now, let's plug it in and see how it— whoa! That's a little more flow than I intended, but no worries. We can place Java moss over the outlet of the hose and divert the water to run down the cliffside instead. With the waterfall a success, let me introduce you to two plants that do well in a wet environment. This here is Boston Ivy, and to go with it I have a Photonia. If you look up close, you can tell both of them have seen better days, but hopefully the tropical conditions of this new terrarium will spring them back to life. Since there's gonna be water below, the only place for these plants to go is into the cliffside itself. So I held the Photonia up to visualize where I wanted it to sit, and used a multi-tool to cut and pry out a pocket. Then I simply repeated the steps to create a pocket for the ivy. Breaking the plants down to a good size, I made sure to select the healthiest looking leaves and carefully inserted it into the plant pocket. Neither one of these plants are gonna get a lot of dirt, but that's on purpose because I want these plants to get most of their nutrients from the water that passes through, filtering out the tank and keeping everything healthy in the process. Next, I'm gonna add this gnarly stick. Not just because it looks cool, but I want to provide a natural looking winding surface for the ivy to climb as it grows. But just as quick as that went in, let's take it back out so we can add in our substrate. I'll mostly be using sand as the substrate, because any aquatic plants I plan on adding will be epiphytes, meaning they can draw their nutrients straight from the water and do not require soil. Next up will be an assortment of different sized, mostly dark rocks. I scattered them in and tried to make it look natural, but also stuck to the idea of keeping larger rocks in the back and smaller ones up front to help create depth. Alright, let's add another couple patches of moss and fill this thing up. Adding in something like a plastic bag before filling will disperse the water as it hits the ground, helping to reduce how much the water stirs up your substrate. Now to deal with our cliffside trying to float towards the front of the jar. To replace Monkey Cup, I'm going to use this large and special rock. It's only special to me though, as I found it on a Boy Scout camping trip I went on many years ago and for some reason held onto it for over a decade. Looking at the cliffside, I can't help but think something is missing, so I dug out one more pocket and picked up this Pilea Kaderii, otherwise known as an aluminum plant. The aluminum plant also thrives in wet, humid conditions, and after putting it in, I was happy to see that it provided the structure with the exact color and texture pop I was looking for. I turned in for the day and returned to see that the water had cleared up a good deal. It wasn't perfect yet, but feeling encouraged, I plugged along and added in some more Java moss to hide the white around this piece of lava rock. I then went on to add a few aquatic plants, such as this Cryptocorini wentii, this Hygroilla pinnatifida, and this single Pistia stratiotis, otherwise known as a water lettuce. With each step I take, this jar is becoming more and more stunning, so I took a second to appreciate the fact that all my hard work seems to be going in the right direction. Alright, let's add the stick back in for the last time, and turn on our waterfall post-build. I allowed the tank to cycle for one short week, and then picked up a couple friends I'd like you guys to meet. I got these 3 cardinal tetras because of their small size and reputation for being docile and good in community tanks. I gently set them free and anxiously waited to see how they would take to their new home. These guys have been pretty skittish ever since I picked them up from the store, and the fact that they're not jetting off to a hiding spot right away tells me they must feel pretty comfortable. Next up, I got these 2 rosy tetras, sometimes known as candy cane tetras. I chose tetras for their hardiness and adaptable nature, and also just for my personal love of the fish. Next aboard, we have 3 dwarf neon rainbow fish. Native to specific regions of Southeast Asia, these fish are typically found in small, lush jungle streams. Oh boy, do I have a small, lush jungle stream for you, my friends.
The craziest part to me is that not a single one of these fish have discovered there's a whole other pocket on the other side, or the fact that behind this cave there's about this much water with nothing in their way. But if they want to sit here all together and give me a great shot, I accept. Oh wow, you guys are just beautiful. If you tuned into my last 2 videos, then you saw that twice now I have been surprised by a green shrimp I did not know existed. This seemed like a great opportunity to give the 5 green shrimp I've mysteriously acquired a proper home. The shrimp will help maintain the ecosystem by taking care of any excess algae growth, as well as any fallen and decaying plant matter. I've certainly never built something of this caliber before, and it just goes to show that if you put enough ambition into any project or problem that you're working on, anything is possible. If you liked what you saw, make sure to leave a like and comment down below what scapes and creatures you'd like to see next. Thanks for watching, guys, and stay tuned because I don't plan on stopping these builds anytime soon. I'll see you next time, my fellow tankscapers. Peace. Hey, I'm the tank guy. Subscribe.